In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about heating hot water system, optimization tuning. So I've got an engagement at the moment to do some tuning for 12 months on a building. And I'm logging into BMS at different times throughout the year as the seasons change. At the moment, it's winter in Australia, so I'm doing heating hot water system optimization tuning. So I'm just logging remotely, seeing how it operates, and then writing down some notes, which I can sort of feed back to the BMS contractor. And in this building, the optimal start heating, which we call warm up in Australia, it starts at 6:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. is occupancy time. So I've been sitting here from 6:30 to 8, just studying exactly how this building starts up. The air handling units, the VAVs, the boilers, and just studying how it starts up and the sequence that it goes through that does that. So in today's video, I'm going to give you two tips on two things that I see that are 99% of the time wrong when I'm reviewing buildings in startup mode, in optimization mode. And these issues we have here now apply to also the chill water system. So while I'm doing heating hot water optimization tuning, this applies also to the chill water system. It'll happen in summer. When I get to summer, I'm going to see the exact same thing happen. And the main issue here is that when we pre-start the air conditioning system in warm-up mode, what most BMS companies do is they just have an optimal start module and they work out, how much to pre-start the building to preheat it so that at 8 o'clock in the morning it's comfortable. And all they do is they just pre-start the plant. Like it just starts in normal mode a bit earlier. And that's like completely wrong. An optimal start should be a different control strategy for all systems. So when it's activated, the boiler system and the air handling units and even the VAVs should switch into a completely different mode, not just start up early. So today I'm not going to show you because I don't think the customer would be too happy if I shared my screen, and the BMS contract would be very unhappy if I shared my screen. So I'm just going to talk you through this. So two things that go wrong here, and it's kind of embarrassing. The first one is this. At 6:30 a.m., I was sitting here sipping my coffee, and I watched the air handling unit start first at 6:30. And when the heating valves opened, they sent demand signals to the heating hot water system because we require heating. So at 6:30, the air handling unit started, and at about 6:40, 10 minutes later, the heating hot water system started up. So they're running together in parallel. And it took about an hour. It was about 7:30 a.m. when the heating hot water system was up to temperature. Because when these boilers start up, they've got to heat up a massive amount of cold water in these big pipes up the whole building in the riser. So the boilers have to overcome the heating of all that cold water from overnight, that's cooled overnight, and all the air handlers are running and all of the heating valves are fully open. So there's a massive demand. This poor boiler system is starting up at 6:30. It's like, how do I do all this? All the cold water in the pipe and these AHUs are all running, the fans are running, and they're recirculating the cold building air temperature. So that's like 15 degrees Celsius of zone temperature. It's just been recirculated, and the boiler's trying to overcome that. It took about an hour to do that. So for the first half an hour, from 6:30 to 7, these AHUs were running, the fans were running in heating mode for the purpose of heating up the building. There was no hot water in the pipes yet because the boiler system was still starting up. The first pump, the boiler, a stabilization delay, second pump, boiler, stabilization delay, third pump, third boiler. It's taking a long time to start up. So in our optimized control system that the customer has paid for, we are running all the building's air handling units and fans for half an hour in warm-up mode with no heating in the pipes. That's not very energy efficient. That's not very optimized. And then basically after about an hour, so at 6:30, about 7:30, the AHUs started to heat up. So those supply temperatures sort of coming up from like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. But half an hour before occupancy, so at 6:30, at 7:30, these AHUs are still pushing like 20 degrees Celsius around, like not warm temperature. So this is the first point. The first point is that don't run the air handling units and use up fan power for the purpose of heating if there's no heating available. you should pre-start the heating plant first. So maybe you would open up all the air handling unit heating valves, say 25%, fans off. Start the heating water system up at 6:30 if you want to. And when the boilers start up, they're only overcoming or trying to heat the cold water in the pipes because the AHU fans are off. There's no load up there in the air handling unit plant rooms. So the boilers can start up, there's less load, they can spend half an hour staging up, getting the water warm and toasty, so that when the air handlers start half an hour later, there's 60 degrees Celsius of hot water available for the air handlers. And as they start, and as the fans start, immediately we've got hot air going onto floors. So that's the first problem I saw this morning. This is a real life project. And I'll be noting this down and discussing it with the customer at the next meeting. Warm-up mode is not just starting everything earlier. There's a whole different mode. I actually have a optimal start training course, a very cheap course because it's quite a short course. Go check it out. YouTube description up below. The AHU is going to change. The chillers and boilers control strategies have to change. The VAV control strategies have to change to actually make this optimized. It's called an optimized control system. It's not supposed to be, it's not called a dumb control system. That's the first point. So running AHUs for no reason, for at least half an hour, close to an hour, doing nothing, just fans chewing up power. That's the first issue. Second issue happened this morning was when the AHUs started at 6:30, because we just started in normal mode and not in a different mode called warm-up mode, just starting in normal mode, the minimum outside air damper was 25% open. So I'm sitting at 6:30 and these AHU fans, looking right now, these AHU fans are running in warm-up mode and we're pulling in freezing cold outside air. So while these boilers are struggling to load up, we're making it worse by drawing in outside air because the air handling unit's minimum outside air damper is open. Cold air is coming in. So there's not just that there's not heating in the pipes yet. We're actually cooling the building. For an hour, we are cooling the building using a little bit of outside air, not all of it. We're mostly in return. So we're bringing back 15, 16, 17 from the floors, and we're mixing in a delicious, 10 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius of cold air and cooling down the return. So wrapping it up, optimal start, you don't just start the plant earlier. It goes into a different mode. Chillers, boilers, AHUs, VAVs, everything starts in a completely different mode for warm-up. Don't just pre-start. Close all the outside air dampers, run the AHUs in 100% return, because before 8 o'clock, before occupancy, in my opinion and experience, you do not have to provide minimum ventilation rates. When people get there at 8 o'clock and there's humans breathing air in there, you have to provide fresh air and ventilation, but not in a warm-up mode. AHUs in full return air mode. This is not rocket science. I've discussed this before. It's very obvious, but 99% of buildings, almost all buildings, the AHUs start up and we bring cold outside air in. Same thing in summer. In a few months, we start doing summer tuning, the same thing will happen. These AHUs will start up and they'll run in optimal start cooling mode. We'll be bringing outside air and trying to cool it for no reason. Second thing was, I don't think you should be starting the air handling units at the same time as the boilers or the chillers because they're not, the system isn't primed yet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.